Hello and welcome back to ERU, where we round up the biggest results and talking points from across European football. Joining me today is Michael McCubbin. How are you, McCubbs? Did you have a nice weekend?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. I was just saying off camera, been watching Lord of the Rings, revisiting that old one over the weekend, so that was thoroughly enjoyable. Watched a little bit of football as well. So yeah, not too bad. Feeling rested. How about yourself, Dukes?
Yeah, it was nice, thank you. I mean, I haven't been so pumped for a game as Liverpool Man United in quite a while, and it was ultimately pretty disappointing in terms of the scoreline, but I actually found the general sort of intensity of it really fascinating. I did really actually enjoy it, although a lot of people on Twitter saying it was an awful game. I think compared to sort of Man United City and Man United Chelsea, I thought it was actually way better. But anyway, we're not here to discuss Man United Liverpool. You can go watch that on Winners and Losers with Chris and Joe. We are here to talk European football, and there is loads to get stuck into. We're going to kick off with our winner, which is Athletic Bilbao at the suggestion of @Harold Fake. McCubbs, what went down?
Yeah, well, I was hoping to talk a little bit about Inter after their great victory over Juve. Had the t-shirt on and everything, but events in this game just had to be talked about, didn't they? Obviously, Athletic Club, props to them. What a great week they've had, beating Real Madrid and Barcelona on their way to their second trophy since 1985. Obviously beat Barcelona 3-2 in Seville, goals from Oscar de Marcos, Asier Villalibre and Inaki Williams, counted out Antoine Griezmann's strikes. Some great goals in there, especially the winner from Williams. But the biggest talking point came in the final seconds, didn't it? Leo Messi, the god, was shown just his first red card of his career. 753 appearances. And finally, he's been given his marching orders. Pretty crazy stuff. Very deserved. Was kind of swinging his arm at Villalibre, didn't they, when they got into that little kind of tussle, dying embers of the game as well. Really, really unnecessary. Barcelona were in possession on the attack, and actually took VAR, despite the ref kind of seeing out of the corner of his eye what went to VAR. He then initially showed the red to Jordi Alba. The highlights that I saw, the commentary was in Spanish, so I couldn't quite make out what had happened there. But yeah, ref potentially had an absolute shocker. But either way, Leo Messi eventually got off the pitch. But the Barca captain will now be out for 4 matches at least. And it's come at a pretty bad time because he was really coming back into form, wasn't he? 6 goals and 2 assists in his previous 5 games. Was really kind of instrumental to a lot of what Barcelona were doing on the night as well. But yeah, like I said, massive win for Athletic. Obviously, they qualified for the semi-finals by reaching the 2020 Copa del Rey, which is yet to be played. So it's very odd that they've won the Super Cup before they've even had the chance to challenge for the Copa del Rey. But anyway, it's been a weird 12 months, hasn't it? But yeah, obviously beat Real 2-1 in the semi-finals. Now Barca, this is the first time they've beaten them in consecutive games since 1960, which isn't that mad. That's quite a kind of once in a blue moon thing to happen, isn't it? And it was a pretty even encounter on the night. Barca had 67% of the ball, but they only created 10 opportunities. Athletic created 12. They both had 4 shots on target. Really could have gone either way. Some questionable defending on both sides as well, I thought. But Marcelino will be happy, won't he? Only his 3rd game in charge. Obviously led Valencia to Copa del Rey victory over Barcelona back in 2019, didn't he? So he's got a great record against the Blaugrana in big games. Only appointed on the 4th of January, lost 3-2 to Barca in his first game, beat Real Madrid in his second, obviously has taken home the cup in his 3rd. But Dougie, what does this mean for Koeman's side, do you think? What did you make of their performance on the night?
Well, it wasn't great. I thought it was a really scrappy game, to be honest. There was constant fouls. It was really keenly contested. It was sort of ill-tempered, I would say, which maybe led to the Messi incident later on in the game, as we'll come on to. And I'll probably come back to that in a second. But in terms of what it meant for Koeman's side, well, it was a really disappointing result because they'd gone into this game unbeaten in 9, winning 6 of their 8 league games in that time, to rising to 3rd in the table, 3 points behind Real and 7 behind Atleti, who do have 2 games in hand. But it's fair to say they made some massive mistakes in this game. They were winning 2-1 going into stoppage time at the end of the second half, when Jordi Alba ducked under Ike Munien's free kick and Villalibre equalised. He did maybe get a slight push in the back, but still, it wasn't particularly brave of him, which, when you're defending the near post, that's your job to clear that ball. Then in the 93rd minute, Busquets and Mingueza failed to close down Muniain again, who played it wide to Inaki Williams, who cut inside Antoine Griezmann and scored an absolute golazzo. You need to go watch that if you haven't yet. What a goal. He's got that in his locker. It was Philippe Coutinho-esque, I would say. But defensive issues have sort of plagued Barcelona throughout this season. No one in the top 6 in La Liga have conceded more than their 17 league goals. And they rank in the bottom 4 sides for defensive pressures, middle third pressures as well, and tackles and interceptions. The latter you probably understand because they do dominate the ball, but the Barcelona sides of Pep and Tito Villanova and Luis Enrique were notorious for their pressures high up the pitch and just all over the pitch actually when they lose the ball, whereas Ronald Koeman's side much more much more defensively sort of relaxed, I would say. But they did create some opportunities in this game. Antoine Griezmann was unlucky to be on the losing side, in my opinion. 3 tackles and interceptions from him, 1 aerial duel, 2 dribbles, 5 shots and 2 goals, one of which was really nicely taken from a Jordi Alba cross. And Griezmann actually, since about the beginning of November, has actually been in pretty good form. It's been great to see him, put not all the doubters aside, but, quieten them at least. For Athletic, Inaki Williams, of course, was very good. 2 dribbles, 2 key passes, 3 shots, 1 goal and 1 assist. But man of the match has to go to Ike Muniain as well. The 28-year-old, he's been playing for Athletic for 12 years, made his debut at 16. Absolute legend there, captained the side as well. And he was everywhere on the night. 2 tackles, interceptions, 3 dribbles, 3 key passes and 2 assists. Marcelino, though, his new focus will be getting Athletic up the table. They are 12th in La Liga, 2 points off 8th, but only 3 points ahead of 17th place Valladolid, which just goes to show how close it is in La Liga this year. Whilst Barcelona are back in action on Thursday against Cornellà in the Copa del Rey round of 32. But in terms of the Messi incident, whilst I don't condone it one bit, and I thought it was, a very stupid thing to do, no place for it on a football pitch, I do have a little bit of sympathy with him in that I feel like he's been hacked down, he's been underprotected his whole sort of career, along with a lot of other attacking players, not just Messi. The likes of Neymar, Messi, dribblers like that, they do come in for a rough treatment. So for him to respond in that manner, not acceptable, but I did slightly understand it, where he was coming from. And Villalibre was trying to cut him across, and he just went back with 2 arms and smacked him on the back of the head, which is not what you'd expect from Lionel Messi, but I could understand it if I'm not condoning it. I don't know what you think on that, McCubbs.
You'd probably done it in the same situation, right, Dukes? You're a bit of a hothead on the football pitch.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think, look, if it wasn't Messi, we'd probably just say, that was a bit silly, and that's about it. But, Messi is held in such high regard, and obviously, had never been sent off before in such a long career. It inevitably becomes a big talking point, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm sure he'll be pretty annoyed at himself about it. I don't know. I think it's probably a bit of a stressful time to be Messi at the moment. Obviously, the presidential elections, which are so pivotal to his future at Barcelona. He's really waiting on them to then see what kind of offer the club makes for him to stay. They've been pushed back, so I don't know. I feel like maybe in the back of his mind, he might have been a bit annoyed about that. Hard to tell, really. But either way, yeah, it's quite a stressful season for him, isn't it?
Absolutely, and he did have fitness issues going into this game as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I think just an amalgamation of things, and yeah, just probably lost his head a little bit in the moment.
He absolutely did. Yeah, there's no two ways about it. He definitely lost his head. What did you guys make of it, though? Do you think Messi should, be banned for more than 4 games? Or do you think, like McCubbs and myself, it was just kind of one of those things, although not acceptable? Let us know in the comments down below. And let's move on to our loser.
We're going over to Serie A for our loser this week. It comes from @Hussein558488509. And he has suggested Roma, Dukes.
Great work on those numbers there, McCubbs. Yes, Roma absolutely humiliated in the Rome derby on Friday night, losing 3-0 to Lazio with goals from Ciro Immobile and a double from Luis Alberto. Now, of course, we could have talked about Juventus into Milan, and we as McCubbs said at the top of the show, we were planning on before that Messi punch, and that had to be one of our talking points today. But the Rome derby was an absolute humiliation for Roma. So going into this game, they had won 2 of their previous 6 meetings with only 1 defeat. But they got absolutely dominated here. Lazio had 8 shots, but allowed 8 on target. Roma allowed 8 on target, that is, to Roma's 6. And they only tested Pepe Reina once in goal, which came in the 85th minute when he made his smart save at the near post from Edin Dzeko. Now, Roma were playing in their familiar 3-4-2-1, which they played in every league game so far this season. But they were all over the shop at the back. It looked like it was a new formation, really. Roger Ibanez, who annoyingly we bigged up on Continental Club a few weeks ago, and does look like one of the most promising centre-backs in Serie A right now. He had an absolute shocker, though, in this game, to be quite honest. He was caught dawdling on the ball in the 13th minute, allowing Lazzari to nick it off him. Then Immobile tucked home. And then in the 22nd minute, he brought down Lazzari. It could have been a penalty. Lazzari then got up and looked like he handled the ball, which really didn't get enough coverage. Played it back to Luis Alberto, who finished into the bottom left-hand corner for their second goal. Now, this was the 5th time this season that Roma have conceded 3 goals or more in a single game, also doing so against Hellas Verona on the opening day, Napoli, Inter Milan and CSKA Sofia in the Europa League as well. And there is a bit of chat going around on Twitter, at least, amongst the Giallorossi fans that Fonseca really not delivering in those big games. And it was another case of it here today. They have the 11th best defensive record in the division, with no one in the top 10 conceding more than their 29 goals in 18 games to date. So for all the fantastic work of Henrik Mkhitaryan at the other end, they really do need to shore up defensively. And Roger Ibanez won't want to look back at this performance again. But McCubbs, for Lazio and Simone Inzaghi, what a day.
Yeah, a really really needed victory, wasn't it? And yeah, like you said, Ibanez, I've not seen a defender have such a shocker in quite a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, lucky in that sense, but a magnificent result, isn't it? And what's been quite a strange season for Lazio. I think we all expected them to drop off a little bit from what was a very sustained title challenge for at least the first kind of 4/5 of last term, wasn't it? But they've already lost 5 league games, 3 more than at this stage last year. Have 9 fewer points. They're realistically out of the title race, but this was their third win in a row, following victories over Fiorentina and Parma, and lists them to just 4 points behind their city rivals in 4th now. So at least they look like serious Champions League contenders. Although when looking at the XG at least, it does suggest they were a little bit fortunate. Like you were saying, Dougs, neither side created that many opportunities. And yeah, XG had it at just 0.9 to 0.6 in their favour, so not a classic game by any means. But that's nothing new with Lazio. Obviously, we've talked a lot about how clinical Immobile is in particular. And they've scored 6 more goals than XG has predicted this season. The only team overperforming more in the top 13 sides in the league is Inter Milan. So yeah, I think probably just put that down to Immobile, I feel like, and maybe a few other little factors.
Felipe Caicedo's popped up with some good ones as well.
Yeah, it's very true. But as for key performers on the night, I think Felipe at centre-back deserves a shout-out. 7 tackles and interceptions. Very solid display from him. Luis Alberto as well. Real all-action display. Obviously got those 2 goals. 3 shots and put in 2 tackles as well. But man of the match has to be 27-year-old wing-back Manuel Lazzari. 3 tackles and interceptions, 4 dribbles, 2 key passes and 2 assists on the night. He now has 1 goal and 4 assists to his name in 16 Serie A matches this season. So a really good campaign for the 27-year-old. Next up for Lazio, they play Parma at home in the Coppa Italia on Thursday. Roma hosts Spezia in the Cup on Tuesday. So congratulations, Lazio. Let's move on to our Star of the Week.
Yes, it's time for Star of the Week. And this one comes in from @Sean15McKenzie, and it's Ryan Gravenberch, McCubbs.
Yes, we had a few to choose from this weekend, didn't we? Lorenzo Insigne, I think, deserves a shout out. He was absolutely world class in that 6-0 win for Napoli, wasn't he? Luka Jovic as well on his return to Eintracht Frankfurt. But yeah, we wanted to highlight Ryan Gravenberch, a player who we've spoken about quite a lot on this channel, I think, in recent months, haven't we? And I think deservedly so. Definitely one of the upcoming potential superstars in European football, isn't he? And he scored the only goal in Ajax's 1-0 win over Feyenoord. He becomes the youngest scorer in the Eredivisie Klassieker since 2013. And I was reading yesterday, I think he's the first Amsterdam-born player to score in it since 2009 or something, which I find crazy considering Ajax's kind of production line. But yeah, brilliant performance from him. Seb Haller as well on his second appearance for the Lancers, picked up the ball on the left and squared to Gravenberch, who's cut inside on his left and scored into the bottom left corner. Third goal in 21 League and Champions League games this term. So yeah, a real breakout season for the youngster, and he had a very solid 90 minutes. 3 interceptions, 1 dribble, created a chance as well, and scored with his only shot. Also completed 91% of his passes, the kind of numbers that we're pretty used to seeing from him. But yeah, and what was otherwise a difficult game, he made the difference, didn't he?
Yeah, he absolutely did, and it was a crucial goal in a game that, you know, Ajax definitely didn't really dominate. Feyenoord had 9 shots with 4 on target to Ajax's 12, but they only got 2 on target, Ajax. And the win now takes them 3 points clear of Vitesse in second and 4 clear of PSV. Feyenoord are a further 2 points behind, so it's a really tight title race. I mean, I'd be very surprised if Vitesse managed to do it, but, you know, Seb Haller started very well there, and Ajax seemed to be going on the right path. An 18-year-old Gravenberch has developed a lot. He's been a crucial part of their development. He's really versatile. He can play in a number of positions. DM as a 6, as an 8, even wide on the left as well, or as a 10. And yeah, his development is really something to behold. So he's now averaging 3.1 tackles and interceptions, nearly 2 shots, 1.4 key passes, and 1.7 dribbles per 90. Also completes 87% of his passes, and he feels like after such a conveyor belt of top talent going off from Ajax in recent years, you know, De Ligt, De Jong, Donny van der Beek as well, it will be Gravenberch who's probably the next, and then maybe someone like Anthony as well, who's really shone in his minutes this year, particularly in the Champions League. And Gravenberch, well, it's no wonder on performances like this that Man United and Juventus are said to be interested in him as well. I don't think he'll go to Man United quite yet, or Juventus, but, you know, watch this space because he's definitely going somewhere. Also, shout out to Seb Haller, as I said, who has started superbly in Holland. He's got 1 goal and 3 assists in 3 games since joining, all in the space of a week. So David Moyes, maybe you made a mistake there, unless they can get in that replacement, which looks like, as of news this morning, that it's going to be En-Nesyri from Sevilla, who's only been there for 2 years since joining from Leganes. So that'll be interesting. So keep an eye on that. But guys, that's all we've got time for on ERU for this week. What did you guys think of our winner, our loser, that Messi punch, and Ryan Gravenberch's performance? Let us know in the comments down below. And McCubbs, what should they go and watch now?
They should go and watch our EFD Explains from yesterday.
Yes.
All about the Barcelona election. I wrote it when I thought that it was going to be this coming weekend, and then as James was editing it on Friday night, we found out that it's been postponed. So a little bit of a last-minute change there, but nevertheless, plenty to get your teeth stuck into if you're a Barcelona fan, especially, or if you're a La Liga fan of Spanish football in general. Really good vid, really good edit from James there. So go and check that out.
Yeah, shirts and love. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye.